This is Dorival Neto speaking. Today I'm going to present a presentation about diversity and if it is working or not in organizations throughout the country and throughout the world. So, diversity itself means variety, it means differences inside a workspace that can bring a lot of different outcomes, both negative and positive outcomes to an organization. Mostly positive, but a lot of actions and a lot of outcomes, as I said, are expected throughout the many different actions that can be taken upon an organization before, after, and during the process of acquiring more diversity into the workplace. So, firstly, we're going to talk about the resistance to change in 1964 with the Civil Rights Act. A lot of changes came into place in the country, with diversity being the one of the first things that they talked about when it came to the changes that were supposed to be made here. So um, when they got together to do the act, they were looking upon bringing, more of the African American community into the workplace and having the right opportunities for them to work in a better environment and be accepted in workplaces where they once weren't. With that, affirmative actions came into place that let people do different jobs and blend in different places through affirmative actions, which are actions that would secure places in organizations to people that weren't fortunate enough to have those opportunities in the upbringing and everything else. Um, with that, sad thing happened is that discrimination came about um, after the affirmative actions. Not that it came before, or not that it didn't happen before, but with the affirmative actions, a lot of discrimination happened because a lot of people, especially Caucasian people that were in the workplace, thought that they were being replaced by less um, skill skillful workers that from different places, and that was the only difference between them, and that was simply not true. People are just as qualified, but they were deferred of working in different places just because of their the color of their skin or how they were perceived of, and how they were looked upon by society itself. So, and that resistance to change, it's something that still happens today. Depending on the city you are or the country you are, you would be looked over just because of where you came from, how you look like, and you're going to be discriminated upon just because of your gender or many other characteristics that have nothing to do with the job. It's just unethical, but that's still happens in today's society. So the debate over diversity is something that came, you know, even bigger after the Civil Rights Act. So the backlash of it, companies having employees that were, boycotting those actions, and created a lot of, racial tension between people. They thought that they were separated by their skin color or separated by their differences, and that's what brings people together is their differences. That's the only thing that we can agree upon, is that we're all different. So that makes a lot of difference when it comes to how the environment would work in a workplace and how people would accept each other and perceive each other into it. Not only that, but the public views on it. It wasn't only the business environment that was suffering because of diversity. Every other major environment in society was suffering of it as well, in a good way, most of it. So politics, the health industry, and a lot of different places were getting more and more diverse as time passed as well. So changes came about, and they were here to stay because the world is all diverse. The world is full of different people from different places. So there's nothing that you can expect last out of it. So the diversity role in business, it's very important to talk about, as I was saying in the previous slide. So, who is it to blame? Who do we blame to have diversity be forced, quote unquote, on us? Not anybody but ourselves. Unfortunately, we all have discriminatory thoughts and prejudices that we carry with ourselves, and it's part of our nature. We make assumptions based on what we see, what we hear, what we feel, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the wrong thing is to be carried away and let your whole opinion about somebody else or a situation be taken away just because of how you perceive things and not how they really are. You know, uh, it also promotes a lower liability to companies. Studies show that in a more diverse company, it's less likely to have, lawsuits and stuff like that, because with the diversity itself, people are more suitable to agree with each other and try to solve problems face to face than taking it to court or something like this. And another major point of it is the reputation enrichment. You know, a more diverse company will have more representativeness, and will have more people working in it. We'll have people that are from different upbringings, in different school of thoughts, in different behaviors to work with each other. So society would see it as a good thing and perceive that company as a reputable and nice place to work at, as you're going to be accepted by who you are and what you do in your job, and not by what you look like or what you do outside of it. So the impacts of diversity around the world, uh, in the business place as well. It promotes inclusion. So people from, as I said, many people from different places doing different things are, you know, being represented and being shown that they're capable of doing their tasks and doing whatever they try to do based on their knowledge and based on their drive to do so. Um, Another point is representativeness, something that I talked about earlier as well. A little black kid will see a lawyer working at a advocacy company, and he will look on that and he'll try to do that, and he'll keep on going working and studying to become what he saw one day. Or somebody else, a little girl, will see a soccer player playing for the national team, and she'll be proud of it, and she'll try to do the same thing. And lastly, the value as well that it brings to not only businesses but society as a whole. In the US, uh, one of the, if not the most diverse country in the world, that has people from all over the place, all over the globe, traveling here and trying to make their lives here. So it's the land of opportunity, and that brings a lot of value, a lot of knowledge, a lot of um, untangible wealth to the country and to the economy and to the businesses as well. So the consequences of diversity, there's no matter where you go, you're gonna find people that are very skeptical of change, very skeptical of trying new things. So tolerance and intolerance, unfortunately, they go hand to hand in this situation, because diversity promotes tolerance, but also intolerance. Because, as I said, you're gonna find people that are very hard-headed, people that are not susceptible to accept the new things that are going on in the world. So intolerance is something very difficult to deal with, because the only way that you can fight intolerance is being intolerant to those. So you can see a lot of companies have a zero tolerance policy towards intolerance itself. So if you treat somebody badly based on their, you know, um, physical characteristics, that's, a zero tolerance. You'd be fired just because of doing that. Another consequence is the proximity. So it will bring people together, not mattering where you're from, what you do, who you are, but what you do in the company itself. And understanding as well. There's a quote that I really like that I don't remember who it's from, but it says real change come from real understanding. And I love this quote because that makes, complete sense. You can only change what you are or what you do if you truly understand what you were doing wrong, or what were you supposed to be doing. So it's really interesting to see it this way as well. So thanks a lot for watching my presentation. I hope I did a good job and that you could understand diversity in a better way. This was Dorival Neto. Thank you very much and have a good night.